You know, I put some more light on and now I just look pink. I was trying to do something better. Anyways, hey guys, it's Isaki here. I used to be a YouTuber a few years ago, back on this platform, and now I'm kind of, sort of ish back, not really. But I have some videos and some different points that I would like to talk about. First off and foremost, if you clicked this video because of the thumbnail and you thought it was clickbait, it's very, very close to the truth. And the thing that I'm going to be talking about today, CHS or Cannabis Hyperemesis syndrome, can lead to death. So let's go ahead and get right into this, which is something I wanted to talk about. I mentioned in my previous video because I discovered what it was. So I have experience in the cannabis industry. I worked for multiple dispensaries for a couple years, and I learned a lot. My knowledge on cannabis is quite extensive, or expansive, whatever you want to say. And I often found myself teaching other people, which is really cool, and I love to do that. I love to teach, which is why I'm doing this video. If you consume cannabis, or you know people that do consume cannabis at a regular interval, then this video is probably going to be for you. If you are looking for a reason to point the finger at someone for using cannabis, this video is not for you. I still 100% support cannabis, and because it is extremely helpful in many different ways. So I was in a accident in November 2020. I was a pedestrian crossing the street on my way home after work at a cannabis dispensary, and unfortunately in the right-hand lane, a car came down the street. The driver fell asleep at the wheel and slammed into my body, and boom. I got hit on my right side. I turned, I threw my hands on the roof of the car, and it was not a good situation. And I will go into my accident in more details probably into another video. But because of this accident, I started to rely on using cannabis to manage my now chronic pain that I deal with from the base of my spine all the way down my back and between my shoulder blades. I get sciatic pain down my legs. I have nerve damage in my hands and my feet, and other complications and stuff. It's not easy, especially being a mother to a toddler. It takes a lot of strain on me. I grew up with a mother who also was in a very bad car accident. She was in a car though. She was not a pedestrian. And when she got her pain, she relied on pharmaceuticals, medications, and she got addicted on them. It became like I was living with someone that had untreated bipolar and Alzheimer's. It is as best as I can compare it to. Very, very doped up, never knowing what was going on really, never being able to talk, always slurring the words. They slept most of the time. Nothing ever got done. I was the only one that did chores around the house and stuff. Because of the situation, when an accident happened with me that was so severe, because I've been in other accidents. Because of that situation that I grew up in, I did not want to rely on pharmaceuticals. I did not want to have that experience for my own daughter. I didn't want her to have to go through things, and it is just not a good situation. So instead of jumping to pharmaceuticals, which I did try a couple things at the beginning, and I did not feel good on them. They didn't help me, and this was right at the beginning of my accident too, so my pain was at max. It was max, and I do have a pretty good pain tolerance. I relied instead of those pills on something natural, so I relied on cannabis completely, 100%. And as my tolerance grew up, the amount I would have to consume also increased obviously that's how it works. So my tolerance became very, very high, and I was consuming cannabis, mostly the flower form, multiple times a day. I was not getting like high, like yeah, this is good. I wasn't getting high. I was managing my pain. After about a year to year and a half of this, maybe say a little bit over a year or something, I started developing different symptoms that I was not experiencing prior, and I was like, what the heck, what is going on? This is just very strange. The symptoms were extreme nausea, being triggered by the smell of food, maybe something gross on TV. Basically, if you have ever been pregnant and you remember the nausea during pregnancy, it's exactly like that. Anything and everything was triggering me to be like, ah! I'd want to like gag and heave, and I would drive heave quite a lot. I wasn't always throwing up, but my body would try. Most of the time, there wasn't anything in there to throw up. And it was continuous. It's all the time, like almost 100% of the time, as well as nausea. Like I do have notes over here from things. So besides the nausea being the bad smells, like everything smelled wrong to me. Coffee, which I love the smell of, smelled like manure. Toast would just like toasting toast in a toaster made me want to throw up. I could not keep anything down. I was able to keep a lot of liquids down. I was trying to at least keep smoothies in me to get some kind of calories, or like applesauce packets I could do. I could handle things that were very cold and very fresh, and mint would kind of help with the nausea a little bit. I did have a lot of like gagging. I had swollen lymph nodes. My throat would get tight and swollen, and I would start salivating all the time, like how your body is naturally going to let you know, hey, you need to run to the toilet or something real quick. As well as that, I started to get some abdominal pain, but I didn't particularly pay attention to this, and I didn't notice this for quite a while, but I would experience a slight abdominal pain, kind of similar to cramps, if you're familiar with that, particularly around the stomach area. But you can't really see where I'm pointing to, but I would get abdominal pain. My mood swings I would have, they were nuts, like high, low, up and down, super irritated very quickly, just really bad mood swings. Not something I really want to talk about. As well as the swollen lymph nodes, I also got hot flashes a lot of times, and night sweats. I would literally wake up and I would be drenched in sweat. It was absolutely disgusting. And then the hot flashes would come periodically throughout the day, most time at nighttime, which is when I would be smoking heavier, because my little one would be asleep and I wouldn't have to do much at the end of the day except for sit down and do some of my reselling work. As well as cannabis, one of the good things that it can help with, which is why a lot of people will recommend it for people that have glaucoma, or even if you have high blood pressure. Cannabis naturally lowers your blood pressure. So having lowered blood pressure on top of not being able to eat anything would make me very lightheaded and dizzy and lethargic, very, very, very weak. I always felt like, oh my gosh, am I going to pass out? And there were moments where I would stand up or something, or even just move down the hallway, and I would have flashes of black and be like, oh, whoa, okay, I need to sit down. I need to try to get something in me. But I couldn't. My pre-pregnancy weight was 103 pounds, and I was always very comfortable at 103 pounds for a long time. I always said that if I dropped below 100 pounds, something's wrong. It got to the point that I dropped down to 93 pounds because I could not eat. My joints were in pain. I was in so much severe pain because I had no mass on my body to support my anything. I didn't have anything to support me. I was turning into a skeleton. I described myself as I looked like Tim Burton character, and not in the good way. I did not look good. I very, very swollen, and I have photos of that on one of my Instagrams, but I'm not going to plug in any photos because I don't do any editing to my videos anymore. So all these symptoms, I thought, okay, well, something else is going on. What's going on? Could it be some other medical explanation I wasn't sure of? I had an endoscope, whatever it is. They go, they knock you out, and then they go down your throat and they look at your stomach to see if there's like ulcers or something going on in there. I had one of those done, and everything came out okay. I had a CT scan. I found out I had a lump on my head, on my brain. I literally have a lump on my brain. That was freaky to find out, and still is very freaky to know that I have something potentially not good. It came back okay though at the moment, and all the different tests that my doctor could think of, blood tests, he tested everything you could think of under the sun, from autoimmune diseases to, I don't know, like you could guess it, and I tested for it. Nothing was coming back, and I had no answers. And I was getting really scared because I wanted all these things to stop. And the worst part is not knowing what you have, not knowing what it could be. Because if you don't know what it is, how can you find a solution to fix it? You can't. You literally cannot. So this pattern I found out when I started to research online, just a Google research or a DuckDuckGo research. I thought perhaps I developed an allergy for cannabis, or that there was something within the cannabis, because you can break it down to cannabinoids, and I can't think of the other word right now, but different components of cannabis. I thought maybe there was something in that I became allergic to, because I developed allergies when I was in high school that I never had before. So I thought, okay, well, maybe my body's changed again. And I stumbled upon CHS in my research, or cannabis or cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. So hyperemesis means like uncontrollably vomiting. A lot of the sites and the research that I found on this are not very good. I found about 2 sites that were very helpful and very good. My doctor had never heard of this. This is something that I had to self-diagnose, and in conjunction with my doctor speaking about these things, we came to agree, okay, yeah, it was the cannabis that caused all the things I just listed to happen. So cannabis hyperemesis syndrome occurs when you have been chronically using cannabis, in my opinion, for a couple years. There are sites that try to say, oh, if you use cannabis once a week, you're going to develop this. I strongly disagree with that, and the better sites that I found says that you are going to have a chronic use of it for at least a couple years, and then you're going to be using it heavily, multiple times a day, which I was, and then possibly you could develop this. Basically, the THC, which is what gives you that high feeling, gives you the munchies and everything. It is a cannabinoid, and it reacts to your endo something. Sorry, I cannot remember the words at the moment, and I don't have my laptop in front of me. But basically, you have different components of your body, in your brain, and even around your stomach that reacts to THC or CBD, and the different effects that cannabis can provide to you. And like I said, I do severely support cannabis still in use, but you have to be mindful about how much you use it and how often you use it, and you need to know when you need to pull back. So after I found out about these different things and about how THC can react to your brain and to your body, basically everything that cannabis can help you with, it now flips it over. I was still being able to manage my pain to a certain extent. For example, when I would smoke, I would get relief from the nausea. I would get relief from everything, and I felt okay because your body is getting that dose of stuff again and it's getting used to it. But your body is now reacting to it in a negative way. It is causing the nausea, it is causing your chemical structure to change in a way that it should not be changing, and that is because of the high level of THC at a consistent pace. And I'm going to be repetitive about this a little bit because you're not going to develop this by hitting a joint now and then or whatever. You will not develop this from that. And I will have links down below for some of the sites. Most of them are very repetitive, and they will say the same like 3 things over and over again, and that was extremely not helpful. Most of them also were not backed up by medical and doctoral research, because cannabis is not research as much as it should be. The leader in cannabis research is Israel, and America does extremely minute amount of research into it. So that's why this thing is not very well known. You could have certain symptoms like this. You could be feeling nauseous all the time, and if you're using cannabis all the time, you might have developed this. In one of the links I will be putting down below, they actually talk about the ER patients in Colorado. When cannabis became legalized first in Colorado, they had an increase of patients that were complaining about continual nausea and not feeling well, and some of these other symptoms. And they found out it pertained back to cannabis. So when I found this out, I talked to my doctor. I said, okay, I need something for anti-nausea. I need something with my anti-inflammatory, because most of my pain is caused by inflammation. That's like with everything. Most things are always going to be caused by inflammation somewhere in your body that's not supposed to be there. And then I needed something to help with pain. So I got those 3 things that I needed, and I stopped cannabis cold turkey. Is not something that you need to like step down off of. You just have to be mentally strong enough to say, no, I'm not going to consume this. I'm going to go on a break. So I took a break for about a month and a half, and the symptoms started to subside within the first couple of days. It was really rough those first couple of days, and the worst part of it for me personally was the side effects of my nausea medication, which causes severe constipation. And let's just say I was in probably the most amount of abdominal pain from that I have ever experienced, and I would not wish that on anyone but my absolute worst enemy and the people that I truly, truly hate. I totally wish that on them. Fuck those people. Anyways, no, this channel is not family friendly. So after about 2 weeks, I was eating all the time. Like, I could not satisfy my appetite. I was eating, like anything that I could see, anything that was around me, I was eating like freaking crazy. Like, my appetite was off the charts, and I started to feel a lot better. Now, I gained a little bit more weight than what I wanted to, but everybody else is saying that I look pretty good and I look pretty healthy, so I'm not going to worry about that too much, even though none of my pants fit at the moment. I'm going to work on kind of balance things out a little bit more. But, so yeah, that's cannabis hyperemesis syndrome in a nutshell. If you do continue down this road and you don't realize what it is and you keep using cannabis, you will wind up in the ER for either dehydration, which did not happen with me because, like I said, I was able to keep liquids down like crazy, but not everybody can. Or you will just kind of black out. I mean, you'll get so weak that I was afraid that I was going to wind up in the ER with a feeding tube in me. And I did go to the ER for a couple of different times because cannabis and how it lowers your blood pressure and changes things. It also would affect my heart because I have arrhythmia and palpitations and a leaky valve, and just I have a lot of crap wrong with my body. Good times, good times. Um, yeah, I think I covered all the points. I mean, I figured this is going to be about a 20-minute long video, and I try to talk on point and as quickly as I could. I do strongly recommend checking out at least the first link that I have down below if you are interested in learning about these, because the other links aren't that helpful. Most of the sites that you're going to find are not going to be helpful. They will say that you are continually feeling nauseous, you will have abdominal pain, and you're taking a lot of hot showers. I was not taking a lot of hot showers. I mean, I was a mom. I didn't have time to be hopping in the shower all the time. Hot showers would relieve my pain because in general I would have chronic pain, but they did not relieve like my nausea or any of these other kind of side effects. So I really strongly disagree with the whole hot shower thing. And the abdominal pain was not all the time, and it was just like randomly here and there a little bit. And as I said, I didn't quite pay attention to it until I started to read on this, and then I noticed, oh, yeah. So I do use cannabis again right now, but I am okay, as you can see. I am very mindful about using it and how much I use it. And if I ever start to see these side effects happen again, I will pull back. That is something else that they say, that um, if you develop CHS, it is most likely to return to you if you go back to your cannabis using habits. So like I said, I am using it a lot less, and I'm trying to be very mindful and very careful about how I use it and when I use it. And if you guys develop any of this, I strongly recommend that you take a break. You know, just think of it like a tolerance break, and talk to your doctor and get some whatever you need to help you. And if you need support with this or whatever, find some people, find some friends. You know, just make sure and tell everyone. And that's, I told my friends too. Unfortunately, my best friend, I think she might have a touch of this, and so she's using it a lot less, and I try to help her get off of it, but she has other stuff going on too. So, but yeah, if you have any ever questions, by all means, pop them down below. Of course, I am not a doctor, but as I said, I do have a lot of knowledge on cannabis. Terpenes, that was the word I was trying to think of at the very beginning. Terpenes, so like linalool, caryophyllene, or caryophyllene, however you can pronounce that, myrcene. Those are components of cannabis, and those are the effects that you're going to feel if it's going to be on the indica side or the sativa side or hybrid side. It's going to give you a racing mind or anxiety or calm you down, give you strong munchies or make you horny or whatever it's going to do. Terpenes. But the terpenes do not play a role in CHS. It is the cannabinoids, the THC, and CBD isn't going to do this. If you're just using CBD, you wouldn't have to worry about this, in my opinion. I have not found anything that said CBD does this. It's just the THC. And the whole scientific breakdown is going to be in that first link that I put down below. That is one of the most helpful ones I found. There was one other site that was extremely helpful, but I can't find it for some reason. I mean, I have so many different sites that are marked in purple from when I went under and I read. And as I said, most of them are just going to say the same thing over and over again. There's so little information about this. And that's why I found it very important for me to make a video and talk about this. So I will shut up now. And as I said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to write them down below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. If you know someone that could possibly have the symptom, please share this video. Please share this video around. If you work in the industry, you should learn about this and share this video with your coworkers or friends that consume as well. Because I know when I worked in the industry, we had a lot of people that were coming in for different health concerns, and it got really rough. It's a lot. It's kind of hard to see certain people, and you know that they might not be coming back again. But hopefully this is not something that, cross my fingers, anyone's ever going to actually wind up severely, from. Yeah, anyways, may the force be with you. Hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you next time.